Hello.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Chantel,
And I'm Chi-Chi.
and this is the Reality She Prefers podcast.
And we're here to talk about The Echo Wife by
Yes.
Sarah Gailey.
Yes.
I really like this.
Yes. Backstory on this one. So I was on Book Outlet, as I usually do, looking for books, and I needed, I think, $5 to get free shipping. And this was marked down to $4.99. And I was like, the premise sounds good. The reviews were like hit or miss, but I was like, you know what? It sounds decent. And honestly, I love this book so much. Like, it was actually not on our list. It was something where I said, Chi-Chi, one day you should read this. I think it's, a good book. And you're like, okay, cool. And you're like, this sounds great. You started reading it, and you're like, this is good. So here we are. We added it to our list,
And thankfully, we both listened to it.
Yes, we did.
So it's going to be a more, apt review.
Yeah. Okay. So this book, The Echo Wife.
Are you going to start us off with a summary?
Sure.
Cool.
So it is about a scientist who clones people for a living. Okay. And she's married, but divorces her husband because her husband has an affair. And it turns out, and I'm not spoiling anything because this is like in the synopsis, turns out her husband is getting married or is marrying the clone of herself.
He created
the clone
Yes.
of his wife, but altered the clone for his benefit. And that's basically it. And the clone and her, they meet.
Yeah.
Things happen. I don't know how much of this book we're going to spoil or have to spoil. Things happen, and they end up working together and really becoming like two peas in a pod. The clone and
the ex-wife.
The ex-wife.
The scientist.
Yeah, the scientist.
I just wanted to just amend something, that he created a clone of his wife that was shaped into exactly what he wanted his wife to be. Yeah.
Not even his wife, like a wife.
A wife.
Just a wife.
Yeah. In service of him, basically. Yeah.
Which I guess the whole book really, I mean, so what I liked about, I want to start with the ratings this time, because I know my rating's not going to falter.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Okay.
Because of all of the intelligent themes. Like, there were so many great themes in terms of like right and wrong, power and control, relationship dynamics, like there's tons more. And I was just like, good and evil. I just thought, again, I was going into this thinking like it wasn't going to be anything, and I was really blown away. And I don't know what your facial expression is.
I'm remembering parts of the book.
Okay.
That I want to talk about.
Yeah, so that's my rating. I'm going to stick it at 4.5. I really liked it.
Okay.
And this is classified as a sci-fi, by the way. So,
Okay.
really liked it.
Yeah, I would say it's a literary sci-fi for sure. Like I hate that genre, the literary. You said it's so respectable, but it is pretty literary, I think.
And I think it's that because of the intricacies of these themes. Your rating?
Mine is 4.
Okay.
I would give it a 4. Did we want to just address what we're drinking before we continue?
We're drinking Coke?
Yeah, we're drinking
Again?
Coke. Yeah, we're drinking Coke.
No, and it's not
day.
caffeine free, and I'm like already had enough caffeine today, and this is like making me jittery a little
Really?
bit. Yeah.
It's
I usually get the caffeine free Coke if I even have Coke in the house. And this is, I mean, I had 2 double espressos this morning. I had an iced coffee, and now I've had like a whole bottle of Coke, can of Coke. That's a lot of caffeine.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you kind of already touched on this, what you liked about the book, but stylistically, and what spoke out to you?
I think what spoke out to me the most was like Evelyn's self-assessment, her dialogue. Like, she is so self-aware, even though it's not like the best, she's maybe not be the best person, right? Like ethically, she's still really self-aware in her actions and her emotions. She's very direct. She is very like self-assertive. She doesn't give a shit about like, which I really liked. You're rolling your eye. You're rolling your eyes. And she's also so real. Like she also is like, you know, if she's gonna do something bad, she recognizes that it's not maybe the most ethical decision to make. She still does it, but she like she just analyzes her decisions. And that would probably be my takeaway. And just like it had me question like this book, even with this like the simplest things and the most complex things, it had me thinking about my life, my choices, how things that I've done have affected my past, my present, my future. It really had me like philosophically thinking about my choices and my life, and it was great. I did really like that. That would be my favorite. You asked me what my favorite. What about you?
What I liked about it, I liked I actually didn't think that Evelyn was a very self-aware character. I thought she was pretty awful.
I didn't say she was good.
I know. But even when it came to being self-aware, I thought that she very much lacked.
She reflected on her action. No, I disagree completely.
I didn't get that sense.
I disagree completely. She like literally would have these self-dialogues as if she was writing in her diary.
She did,
and would reflect on the past and how that affected her choices. Maybe she didn't flat out say it, but the author wrote it in a way that like, okay, so even when she was talking about, you know, her relationship with her father, it was pretty clear that those choices really dramatically affected her future and how she behaved. And while like Evelyn might not have said like, oh, my father did this and now I'm this, it was very clear that this introspection and this writing was because of that past.
But that's not introspection. That's the author's creation.
Yeah, but
I
but it was still written from Evelyn's perspective. She was still telling the story. It wasn't it wasn't from Martine's perspective. It was from Evelyn's perspective.
No,
so
I know.
I still think it's introspection. If it's writing, if the author is writing it as Evelyn talking about her past and how it affects the future, that's still not introspection, is it not?
Okay, so the way I see it is that okay, I can't remember now, but it probably was written from first person, which would mean she's reflecting on the connections between the past and the future and the present. But on the grander scale, the decisions that she like made and undertook in her marriage, her behavior, her mannerism, her characteristic, lacked a lot of self-critique and self-analysis. Like she sort of did things, and right at the end, I thought was a huge telltale of Evelyn's character. So I guess we'll have to spoil it, but in the end she ends up there. What happens is that there's this dynamic between Martine and herself, where she becomes her father, the father and the man of the house. So Martine gets to come in once a month, and just like she did with her own father, ask questions, and basically they hold like an informational session between the two of them. So she had taken up the mantle of being exactly like her father, like the masculine and dominant figure, which she always was throughout the entire thing.
Which I think is why her husband had a problem with
absolutely,
right?
So
he created, I forget his name.
So like I think that shows a lack of self-awareness and a sort of replaying of different, I guess, replaying of her life scenario, like
how
the past.
How is that self-awareness though?
But that's not her that wrote. I mean, so on the one hand, we get as readers like what the author is doing, which is really smart, which is really great. Like she's creating this world and this character. But then we get the character. And does that, just because the author has created it in a way that shows that the character has thought about it, does not mean that the character herself is self-aware, because she's still making the same mistakes. She's causing the same harm because she is a harmful individual, right? Am I being clear? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whether or not she's a harmful individual, we could definitely discuss.
Okay.
I don't know. Is she harmful?
Oh, so this is where I want to talk about this. As I was reading, and you know me, right? The feminist, and stick that out. But anyway, you know me, right? And I hated the husband.
His name is Nathan.
Nathan.
Yeah.
I hated the husband, the creator of the clone. When you're introduced to him, you're meant to dislike him. This guy has literally created a clone of his wife in order for her to serve him.
Yes.
Create a baby, become the domestic machine.
Yes.
He doesn't even let her sleep.
Yeah. Or like,
you
have
can't
any
be any
thinking.
just like so damn awful. But as the narrative unfolds, you realize that not only does Evelyn she's in a line of work that does the exact same thing that her husband did. Ethically speaking, she creates clones for for people in power to either take bullets for them or to to ensure their safety. Right? She chooses, just ethically speaking, she has been doing the exact same thing that her husband just did. And of course, yeah.
I don't think so.
What way?
Her job is to create clones. You're correct, 100%. To be vessels. They don't reproduce. They don't have feelings. They are not made to live a life. They are there to again, I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying that they're not the same thing. She produces a copy of the president so that it gets shot. It's like this. She views it as a vessel. That's what she has been learned to view it as. Right. What Nathan did was create another human being, almost, essentially. Yeah. Not a clone, not a vessel. He made it so that Martine would have ovaries, so that she could produce, that she could be a critical thinking being, that she could be be a participant in his life, a companion, a person. The other clones are not, Martine doesn't view it that way. Again, I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. Evelyn doesn't view it that way. I'm not saying that one is right and one is wrong, but I'm saying that what Evelyn does, while yes, it's the same act of doing making a clone, Evelyn does not do it for the same purpose.
I understand
that Nathan does. But Nathan's is extremely, extremely unethical and not cool.
Right.
Evelyn's is, while yes, unethical, is sanctioned under the government. So in this story, so in her mind, it makes it okay. But
Nathan literally took her research. How do you reconcile with that? It is her work that he created.
So yes, he created her work, but he altered it big time and messed up, because he messed up 12 times
in the process of trying to create the clone.
Yes. In the perfect. He didn't know what he was doing.
That's right. So what I'm trying to say is that Evelyn had already created the research. She was going to do that anyway.
Yeah, but she never she made it very clear that she never intended for her research to be used in the way that Nathan, used it, to be reproducing, living as a partner, living as a part of their life. She drew and I'm not saying that, so he took her work, her clone work, and modified it, not just to fit his needs, but to essentially make Martine a human being, versus what she was focusing on was vessels, tools to be used for research, for protection, like you said, body, whatever they're called.
So here's the thing.
I can tell you're yeah, I don't agree.
I'm trying to understand the distinction that you're drawing. He didn't want Martine to be human, because the instant that Martine posed asked a question, deviated from exactly what it is that her purpose was, he tried to kill her. She was supposed to be a vessel in the home. The only difference between Martine and the other vessels is, of course, that she reproduces, right? So I'm trying to understand the distinction, right? And this is the gray line, I think, of the book, which is like what constitutes a human.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not my distinction. This is what Evelyn had identified as her. I'm not saying that.
Evelyn did identify that. Yeah. Later on in the book, Martine says, you do the exact same thing. You're no different from Nathan. So like that's what I'm trying to understand. And I think that that's what the book is trying to get at. It's like what is the gray line here of what constitutes like a human, right? Nathan had killed how many up until he created Martine? Yeah. He killed them because he kept messing up, and then close to the 11 he got the shape and he got literally the physical form. So it's if I remember correctly, what was probably awry is that she wasn't performing as expected, right? And then
I never even got that he brought her into the house.
The 11th one.
She was the final completed project
before Martine, right?
No.
What I'm talking about the clones.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like all the clones that were buried in the backyard.
Yeah.
They weren't complete. They were all failures. He never.
Right.
And I don't mean failures in the way that they didn't comply to his plan.
Right.
I took it as he never, unless I misread this, that he never brought them into the house to start to fulfill their quote unquote purpose.
Yeah.
He didn't get the sequencing, he didn't get the formula right, so he had to kill them, versus like Martine was the finished completed project, but he was going to kill her because she was deviating from the plan.
So no, what I'm trying to say is that from the first clone to the 11th clone, or was it 12th?
I don't know.
So from the first to the like very final before Martine, there were very obvious, like, you know, like he had messed up on the physical creation.
Yeah.
But then when it got to the last, I think it described that it was the most accurate. So I'm guessing, and I don't know if this was answered and I just missed it. What must have been awry, it must have been in the presentation. So like whenever they wake the clone up or something.
Oh, maybe, I don't know, I missed that.
I don't know. And now that I'm thinking about it, I actually don't know. It didn't actually say what was wrong with that clone before Martine. And then Martine deviated. So what went awry is, again, she posed too much like actual resistance in a way that didn't satisfy him. So these are the like what then makes what Nathan is doing very different from what Evelyn is doing.
Maybe the intention.
So one is sanctioned. You're right. One is sanctioned by the state. The other is like to fulfill a personal need. But they're both bad. They're creating these.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, very close to sentient beings to be in service of other people.
Yeah, I mean, clones are a very controversial topic, are they not?
So so Evelyn has this dominant, very dominant streak to her. She's very much, I think she's supposed to be, and it's kind of funny that you like her so much.
I do.
She's supposed to be almost like masculine, right? She doesn't apologize. She doesn't have very feminine traits. She doesn't apologize. She never says sorry. She's the opposite of her clone, who's constantly apologizing. She is stoic in presentation. Her clone is, you know, very much more maternal and feminine. And Evelyn doesn't want children. She doesn't want children. It's going to disrupt her work. And her clone wants to take care. She's a nurturer. So in the end, Evelyn, the more I listened to the book and listened to what it was that led to the breakdown of this marriage, less I blamed Nathan. The less I blamed, the more I was like, she's it's both of them are really awful people.
Yeah,
they are like, they were really self-serving individuals.
yeah.
Of course, we don't really hear from Nathan, but the mere fact that he would even think to create a clone to serve for him,
his wife's work,
exploit that and use it for his own, it's just it like gives away his character pretty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do agree with you though. I never was like, oh, poor Evelyn. Like, I think that was her own demise. Like, she kind of, it wasn't I'll put it this way, it was not a great partnership. They were not suited for one another.
No.
And I
don't even think Evelyn's suited for anyone, to be honest.
Well, she's suited for Martine.
No, but like, how awful is it that in the end she ends up, I guess it's like this weird, what happens is this dynamic that happens organically where she becomes like Martine's husband. So she
almost like co-parenting type of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, she has no choice, because she can't let Martine out, because it's her clone. If anyone finds out about the fact that, like, she's an award-winning scientist, right? If anyone found out that her husband or ex-husband stole her work, cloned someone, reproduced with someone, and then, like, she'd be done for. Like, her work, she puts her work above anything else. So this is her way, I think, of making sure that her work, her ability to continue doing what she's doing is like, this is her way to do it. Like, if she has to play the husband, play the devoted partner, then, and I don't think she has anything to do with like the child rearing at all. No. It's just, she just provides the house, she provides the food, like, she's literally just the provider, and it's what she wants to do. She wants to continue her work. That was her main focus. She made it very clear to Nathan that that's what she wanted to focus on, and he also didn't support that, which they were at a crossroads, right? Like, she wasn't very nice about it.
Yeah.
So I'm not condoning her behavior, but like, he wanted kids, he wanted to, develop a family. They wanted different things. And again, I'm not saying what he did, because that's not cool at all.
All right.
I mean, we can talk more about Nathan if you want.
Well, yes, sure. We can talk about Nathan, but I'm just, because what I'm thinking about right now is like the way that I think a lot of the books that we read touch on this, the way that the past is connected to the present and just continues to repeat. Like, we as individuals are born into this almost cycle of doing the exact same thing that the ones that came before us in our line had done. Okay. So is the way that she became her father, which is really, it's so unsettling to me, that end. How she sits in a seat, she becomes the basically the man of the house, and like, what seals like everything is that she gets into this relationship with Martine where they only meet in the office for questioning, where Martine can basically ask anything she wants and learn from her once a month, just like she did with her dad. Okay. So what is the book trying to say with this character? What is it saying about, I guess, the circularity of time, like the way that like we move through time, and the way that things sort of reproduce the harm that's been done unto us, and like the cycle of going through the motions of being. Okay. And I hear you on that. I didn't think about it like that. I thought about it more like that Evelyn had this side of compassion to her, in that Nathan didn't allow Martine to read, to exercise her brain, to learn, right? She was literally just this vessel for reproducing, making a baby. So I thought it was an effort of compassion that Evelyn was like, okay, well, I'm going to give her these books so that she can learn about, biology, childbirth, all these things. And that, she might be isolated in this house. She can't really leave. She's being a mom. But like, let me educate her. Let me help her
to be more than what Nathan intended. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see it as a...
Once a month, though?
I don't know. I mean, sure, once a month.
Why the once a month?
I don't know.
Why exactly what her father did?
That's what she knew.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what that's what her father did. And she really, it seemed like she really valued that time with her dad and what that interaction did with her life. Like, that basically formed who she was and her career. So if she's putting her career above everything else, that interaction with her father must be pretty important, pretty crucial in her core memories, right? So maybe she was just trying to install the same type of, I'm not justifying it, but like,
no, I didn't
maybe
think
just
so.
trying to instill the same type of, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree. It's the way that, like, as the final scene that we get in the book, I think that it's significant.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I think it's significant. I just it's unsettling for me.
Okay.
Yeah. There are things I didn't like. Yeah, I will say what I thought needed a little bit more improvement would be well, we both listened to the audiobook, and that was really difficult.
I agree.
The actors,
100%. It was a struggle.
I really didn't know why she needed to stretch out the lines like that. But I also felt there were some parts that I felt could have been handled better, executed with the writing.
Okay.
I felt that Nathan felt a little flat at points. I know that his actions were in the end explained, but at points just felt a little too forced. I can't go back to moments that, like, I felt like that in the book, because I didn't take notes and I can't remember. But I know that I don't know. He felt there were places where I felt that his character could have had a little bit more complexity to it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really find that his character was all that established or involved. Like, it wasn't, even though it was a big part of the book, he wasn't really involved in the book.
He was involved to a certain degree. Like, it's his actions that catapulted, catalyzed the entire narrative. So I think that even, like, with attempting to murder Martine, like, that scene there was something about it that just felt very off, and I thought that it could have just been better handled. It's really hard for me to pinpoint every single place where I felt like that, but apart from that, did you want to add something about maybe like the audiobook, the listening experience? Did you have anything to say about it?
I mean, yeah, like, I didn't think I was gonna like the book just off of the first couple chapters of the audiobook, because the acting skills were not great, but really I got over that pretty quick with the writing, and then the overall, like, I don't know, it just made me think a lot.
Okay.
And like self-reflect a lot, which I really liked.
Okay, awesome. All right, that's it for now.
Okay, bye.